Hello, this is Sarah Griffith with Scaped Outdoors. Thanks so much for watching this video. Today, I'm going to get pretty deep with you on an emotional level of why and how and some details behind our business and how we got here to where we are today. But because of that, it means that I need to share some parts with you that are hard to hear. And so this is my disclaimer at the beginning of this video that I will be talking about death and loss, and some of the topics are difficult. So if you are not in a place where you can handle a topic like that, then I would encourage you to skip ahead to another one. But for those of you who kind of want to know more about us, and really, like, people are always like, oh, why'd you get into hardscape, or how'd you get into hardscape? I think everyone assumes it's the typical, oh, Kevin went to school for this and we, made a business out of it. And that's not the truth. And so I think that it's powerful and important to share the truth. And so I will. And so today is July 21st and tomorrow will be July 22nd. And July 22nd is forever a day in our family that's marked on the calendar as the hardest day we've ever faced. And every year, we come to another anniversary milestone. And even though we're starting to get further and further away from that day that the incident happened, it doesn't actually ever go away. It still feels like it was yesterday. And this week is always hard because you find yourself reliving what was a really, really, really difficult and tragic day for our family. And so I will tell you this. Our business is built on grief. It really is. It's built on grief and loss and what happens after something really horrific happens. On July 22nd, Kevin's brother, who he was very, very close with, best friend, committed suicide. And we did not see it coming. It's the heaviest thing to have to say, but it's the truth. And so what happened was, after we lost Kevin's brother, we found Kevin in a place where he had to cope with what life after suicide looks like. And it's not easy. And if you know anything about grief or loss, you know that loss after suicide is like another level. It is. They're all hard. Every bit of grief is hard no matter how you lost someone, but there is a layer to a suicide loss and a suicide grief that a lot of people, thank goodness, will never have to understand. I hope you never have to understand it. But I had to watch my husband, I don't want to say power through, but go through that. And I will say that I am very proud of the way he chose to live out his grief. Some people, when they lose someone this way, they turn to really bad things, whether it be drugs or alcohol or, numbing with too much television or anything to numb from how they're feeling. And Kevin turned to something really interesting. He turned to hardscape. We had just moved into our home rather recently still, and we needed to put in a driveway. And he was talking about, oh, I would love to put in a paver driveway, but I don't know. And he wasn't there yet. But it was about the fall. It took him a couple months to decide how he was going to heal and cope and grieve. And he chose this. And so he said, I'm going to hardscape the drive. I'm going to put pavers down in the driveway. I'm going to do it myself. I'm not getting it done. I'm doing it. And if you know anything about hardscape, that's not the project you should ever DIY as a homeowner who isn't in the industry. Like, if you were to come to us and say, like, oh, I want to do my own project with pavers, I would never tell you to do a driveway. I would tell you that is the last project you should ever do if you don't have experience in the field. But the thing about Kevin is that he is incredibly talented and smart and gifted and good. And so our driveway became the canvas for Kevin's grief. And my gosh, was it beautiful. Every night after he'd come home from work, he would go out in the driveway and he would just lay paver after paver. And and figure out how to do this. And it would be dark out, you know, and I know that he would be out there just processing what I knew he was really carrying. And then after he finished that project, you know, all of a sudden it was like, wait, I love this. I'm going to do more. And then it turned into the driveway wall. Then it turned into the backyard retaining wall, the backyard playground, a fire pit in the backyard, a fireplace in the backyard, a pergola, a hot tub, you name it. As you can tell, I'm giving you a long list of projects. And everybody around us just saw projects, right? Oh, Kevin and Sarah are building beautiful things at their home. And while everybody saw that, all I saw was my husband is coping with a tremendous amount of grief. And this is his canvas. Our home is a canvas of his healing, and it's the canvas of his grief, and it's the canvas of his learning. My house is how my husband learned how to do this trade. And so what happened was, as he continued to do project after project after project, the supplier that we were buying through, he kind of asked him one day, he's like, why don't you do this for a living? Like, I know you have a regular job, but like, have you thought about this? And that was kind of like the linchpin, I guess. Like, if I look back and I'm like, what was it? I think it was somebody else believed in him other than us, and who planted the seed and said, why don't you do this? Because the thing about Kevin and I is that we always used to dream about running a business together, but we didn't know what it would be. That was the key part. We didn't know what it was. We would go on date nights and we'd sit there and we'd, you know, just say like, oh, wouldn't it be so cool to get to work together someday or to get to build a business someday? Like, we had these conversations, but we never ever knew what it was going to be. We thought that it would be something in the natural gas industry because that's what he had done for decades. He worked as, you know, a heavy equipment operator when he was really young, and then he worked as a superintendent in the natural gas industry. He did estimating and he oversaw, you know, $1 million projects, and everything about it made sense. It was a safe job. It was a well-paying job. It was a great opportunity, but it wasn't going to be what we built our new chapter on. We knew that we're strong in our faith, and we knew that if we could just stay quiet long enough, God would lead us to where we needed to go and what we needed to do next. And losing his brother was a very hard reminder that life can change in a minute. Everything can change in a minute. Now, there's a piece to this story that I haven't shared yet either, which just stacks on the layers of how difficult the season really was when I step back and I reflect. But before Kevin's brother committed suicide in July, that February, my brother, who was also very young, in his 30s, my brother was diagnosed with acute myeloid leukemia. It's one of the worst types of leukemia you can have. It's aggressive. It doesn't have a great survival rate. And it took my strong, healthy brother, and it took his life. And so we had another year with Mike after we lost Nate. So we lost Nate in 2019, and my brother continued to battle cancer for another year after that. It was really hard to be grieving someone who chose to leave, and then watching another person try desperately to stay. It was heavy and it was hard. But what happened was my brother died on September 20th, 2020. And that was it. That was it. It didn't take me time. I knew in that moment, probably like a week or two later, that our life was about to really change. And we were no longer going to be playing it safe, playing it small, not chasing a dream that we felt God was calling us to. And so in early October, I filed the paperwork to formalize and build Scaped Outdoors. And the rest, we kept quiet. We kept quiet that fall. We built it. We did all the things we needed to. We got the insurance. We met with the lawyers. We did the bank stuff, like you name it. We did it all so that when we were ready to launch that spring for the first season, no one could stop us. It was already done because we knew that everybody in our world, our friends, our coworkers, our parents, our other siblings, they were going to say, are you sure this is a good idea? You have 3 small children. You just lost someone to suicide. And now you just lost someone to cancer. So you're navigating a very heavy season of grief while also trying to, stay happily married in a season where both of you are juggling some really heavy feelings and emotions and struggles. It's probably not the best time, right? I think I would tell someone that too, but the truth was it's never the best time. It's just, when it's the time. And so we felt so called, so we did this, and I think that it helped to distract me. I won't say heal. It distracted me from my grief and Kevin, and it helped us to be hopeful and optimistic for the future. So it was the end of January, and we planned to go live with the business that February-ish to our family, and then live to the world the end of February and announcing what we were doing. And, we went away for my birthday weekend, and we told our family, we're all in a big house that we rented, and we said, oh, and we're going to launch a business this year. And everyone's like, what? Why would you do that? What do you mean? What is the business? And we said we were going to do hardscape, and we were going to build outdoor living spaces for people in our community that allowed them to have a place to make memories with their loved ones, that allowed for people to connect on a level that the world's craving. And yes, everybody's just going to see the beautiful projects that we build. But at our core, we knew that we were building spaces that were going to matter to families. Kevin was going to be building the patio that kids are going to come over to for homecoming and have their homecoming photos on. You know what I'm talking about. It's such a thing. We knew that we were going to build the fire pit that husbands and wives were going to sit around and have a glass of wine and maybe share really hard conversations or really beautiful conversations. We knew that our business would transform backyards to become the house where everyone wanted to be. And that is such a beautiful way to honor your grief. And so we launched that business in March of 2021. Kevin side hustled. Some of you are our clients from the first year, and you know what I'm talking about. It was horrifically hard. He kept his job full-time as a site superintendent in the natural gas industry from March until September. He built on weekends, Friday through Sunday. He went nonstop. You thought he was on your job site for a long time. Right now, back in the day, he'd go from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. and he'd build a whole outdoor living space in a weekend. It was insanity. He did quotes at night after he worked all day. Our 3 little kids didn't see much of Dad that year. And I was struggling and doing it, but struggling to keep it all together here and run the business with Kevin. And it was hard. I won't pretend it wasn't hard, but it was beautiful. And now we're several years into this, and we're really doing well with Scaped. We've built a beautiful business. We give clients an incredible experience. They, their lives transform because we transform their backyard, which is just awesome. And the reviews and the messages and all the things that they say to us, all the things that they say to us after, it just reminds us why we're doing what we're doing. And so we don't have any regrets. There's no regrets that we started this business. There's just regrets that we don't have our family here with us, the ones that we lost, to see how good it's going and to be proud of us. But I think that the longer we stay in business and that we are in business, the longer we are getting away from sharing that piece, because it's very private and it's very personal, and it's a part of our story that doesn't get shared all the time because it's heavy and it's hard and it's sad, and it's still there, right? It's still raw. July 22nd still hurts. And so I just appreciate you listening and learning and knowing at our core how we got started. That we started at home. Kevin, I didn't say this, but Kevin went on and got trained and learned the industry standards, and he learned how to build things the right way. And so it wasn't just, we just up and did this. We did it with intention. And we did it with our hearts, and we knew that God was calling us to this. And that's it. So thank you. And if you find yourself in a place where you're dealing with your own version of grief, I would challenge you to lean into something that can be beautiful. You can have beauty from the ashes. You can have really good things happen after a really bad thing happens. Don't let it steal your light. It can dim it for a while. You're allowed to let it dim it. You're going through a hard time, but don't let it ruin your light. Don't let it take it away.